Last time we had 4 in a row was, of course, Kerry, very famously, 78-81, that brilliant run against Dublin in 78, Dublin again in 79, Roscommon in 1980, and Offaly in 1981. We have two of the stalwarts of the team with us now, Sean Walsh in a moment, and also this fella.
And it comes up now to John Egan. John Egan up to Owen Liston. Liston back to Egan. And now they're really rolling. Egan across to the far side of the field. Mikey Sheehy. In it goes now. And the first goal.
Yeah, it's Jack O'Shea, if you don't recognise the commentary, with a brilliant goal in the 1981 final. Sean, you're there. Jack, you're there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us. Feels like yesterday, I presume, Jack?
Jeez, I don't know. I think it's nearly 40 years ago. It's a long, long time ago. But yeah, it's one of those things, I suppose, you always, dream about playing All-Ireland finals. You dream about scoring a goal in the final. So I did it that day. So, yeah, it's great when you're there, when you're playing. And, I suppose the happy memories, Joe, more than anything else.
Yeah, it's a fabulous goal. I mean, if people haven't seen it, I'm sure of a certain vintage, everybody's seen it. Do you remember doing it, or is it only like you look back and you kind of see it? Do you remember what it felt like, what you were thinking at the time?
I do actually, yeah, because when we won the ball in possession, we won it back near our own end line, and I think I was around the 21-yard line at that stage, and the ball moved up the far side of the field, and I just moved up on the right-hand side, and yeah, I can remember it. I can remember the occasion. I can remember, getting the ball and just Mick O'Dwyer said I should have given it back to Mikey, but I told Mick I didn't even see Mikey after they got the ball in my hand. Yeah. I just one team in my mind, just to bury it in the net.
Whack it as hard as you can, basically.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
And Sean, where were you? You were holding the fort. Like, this was a midfield partnership. Was it Jack did all the glamorous stuff?
Yeah, somebody had to mind the midfield, so that was my job. Jacko used to go off wandering, but Mick O'Dwyer always told me to mind the middle of the field.
Yeah. So you two, obviously, I mean, you were that midfield partnership in that final against Offaly in 81. Would you talk much pre-game, or was it a fairly simple play it as you see it kind of game?
I'd say, to be fair, I had the privilege of playing with Jacko for 6 years, from 78 to 83. He was obviously one of the great players. And we had a great understanding. And we used to speak a lot before the game, the two of us, deciding who we'd mark. Mick O'Dwyer left it up to ourselves who we wanted to take. So we had a good understanding. We had 6 great years playing together.
Right.
And they were good memories.
We actually had a very good strategy on kickouts and that as well. That took people a long time to cop on to it. But yeah, we, like Sean and myself, played minor as well together. So we've been together through minor under 21. We played in 4 under 21 finals as well. So we knew each other quite well. And we met a lot in colleges as well. So there wasn't too much I didn't know about Sean Walsh.
All right, I didn't realise that. And what was the secret to the kick-out strategies?
We just had something worked out with Charlie that we used to actually use a kind of a cross. I might be on the left-hand side, Sean would be on the right. If the ball was kicked over to the right, I'd actually cross the field. You'd be trying to get a free catch. Yeah. So we actually, something similar to what Dublin do at the moment, actually.
So you're crisscrossing, basically?
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you were deciding who marks who or who does what, Sean, how do those conversations tend to go?
Well, a lot of the time, to be fair, I suppose the game was a bit more pedestrian, but when you had the likes of Bernard Brogan, he was probably one of the first guys that chose Rome a lot, and Jacko used to it. So Jacko would be quite comfortable taking Brogan, and I might mark Brian Mullins then, or the likes of John O'Gara, Roscommon, or Declan Barron, Cork, guys who'd stay around the middle a bit more like me. Maybe I was the lazy one, to be honest, so it suited me.
It's a funny thing, Jack, watching Dublin do what they're doing at the moment and receiving, rightly so, the plaudits that they're getting. In a funny way, because the way you look back on things, it's hard for my generation to almost disassociate your 4 in a row from what happened in 82. They're almost kind of inextricably linked. The 4 in a row, 82 is such a big part of the 4 in a row when you talk about it. But it's a pity in some ways, because it's actually worth standing back and looking at what an amazing achievement it was to do that 4 in a row, just the third team to do it in football. Did you feel that at the time? Like, do you look back on it with great pride, or is it linked with 82 for you?
I do, yeah, because I think I played I think in 8 All-Ireland finals. We won 7. So we lost out in 82. We had great, like Sean and myself played mine in 75, so we kind of had a great, we came into a very good setup at the time, a lot of good players and that, and, it was a privilege to be part of the same team, and I suppose what was unique about the team, there was very little changes in the team all the way through those 7 or 8 years. that we had. There was normally, I think the team probably was made up of 18 players at the max. Starting positions, and that was due to Bomber was injured one year and Joe Powell was missing some other year, and I think Mikey was missing another year. So it was basically the same players all the time, maybe a few different positions. And that was a very good Offaly team to beat us in '82 because we played them in the semi-final in 1980. I think just 4-15 to 4-11 was the score in that match. Matt Connor scored 2-9 that day. That was probably one of the greatest footballers that ever played the game, one of his greatest games. And then we played them in the All-Ireland final in '81, and they beat us in '82. So they probably deserved to win an All-Ireland. Unfortunately, just for us going for 5-0. But I don't think the 5-0 really worried us as such. We were, concentrating on the team as we were, and we were out to play at our best at all times. And unfortunately, we didn't have any time to recover after the goal. And I think that was the problem. The goal came so late.
The 1981 game, the game where you actually do get the 4 in a row, do you remember, Sean, was there a huge hype and pressure about the 4 in a row? Was that a massive thing at the time?
There was, yeah. It was a huge build-up, to that game. Because we actually, Mick O'Dwyer, he was come up with ways of motivating us, and we had this idea that if we won the 4 in a row, that we'd do a trip around the world. Right. So committees had been put in place, and that was the incentive for us. I know it sounds crazy now, 40 years ago, but it was a huge incentive for young fellas that if we could pull off this All-Ireland, we had a world trip. And I think that was a big thing, And
I presume you got the world trip?
We did, yeah. We toured America, Hawaii and Australia. We were away for 5 weeks. Phenomenal holiday.
Wow. And what did the Hawaiians make of you?
Sorry?
What did the Hawaiians make of you?
I don't know. It's so long ago.
That
sounds amazing. I didn't realise you did 5 weeks, Jack.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, it was a fantastic trip. I remember when it came up, I think somebody mentioned somewhere we'll go somewhere, and Paddy O'Shea jumped in. He said, "Lads, we'll have to go around the world. That's the only trip we can go." And so it was an amazing trip. I think we raised something like nearly £100,000 at the time. On the fundraising events, we went up to the north for 3 weekends to play 3 matches each weekend. And we fundraised the whole 100,000 ourselves. So, we had very good pocket money going. It was a fantastic trip. It was a trip of a lifetime. And, I suppose we bonded well all over the world. So it was a unique trip, and it was a great time. Okay,
fantastic. Because we came across a photo, I think, from after the 81 win, the 4 in a row win, where you're like kind of a volleyball team effectively on a beach somewhere. I don't know where. It could have been anywhere at this stage, given the circumstances.
It was probably Waikiki Beach, yeah.
Right, okay. You looked happy anyway. It looked like a good atmosphere.
Were we all red or were we brown? Probably more red than brown.
Yeah. I don't know if sun cream was high on the priority list. And so, so you're talking about the build-up and the hype and everything. I was just looking back, Jack, your build-up to finals on final day was almost unbelievably relaxed. Like, I kind of had to read this twice, that on the Sunday morning you're getting up for some pitch and putt in Malahide.
Yeah, that was one of my routines in the morning, the All-Ireland final. I just felt that leading into a game, it'd just be as natural as it could be. I generally worked on the Saturday. My plumber by trade, and I would generally do a bit of work on the Saturday. I'd go out and join the lads on the Saturday night out in the hotel. We'd go and have our meal, and we'd go out for our walk and our team meeting down the beach. And then the following morning, we'd get up about 8:30 and I'd head up to the pitch and putt. I'd play 18 holes at pitch and putt before I come back to join the lads again and head for Croke Park.
And were you on your own playing pitch and putt?
Usually I brought the lads that came with me were probably the younger lads in the panel who would be on the subs.
Right.
And, there's a way, I found it a great way of relaxing, And when I was leaving the pitch and putt club in the morning, I was booked it for the following year again. I told the boys I'd be back again next year.
The thought of Mick O'Dwyer giving you a team talk on, I presume, Malahide Beach is kind of a striking image. So would you just sit around on the beach?
We used to sit up in I think there was a wall at the top of the beach, and we'd sit on the wall. We could go out in front, and that's what we did our team talk and our team meetings, and that's where it was.
Right.
It's different totally to today. It was I suppose we were together so long as well that it was important, that we just were relaxed, and different lads had different ways of relaxing in that, and everybody had their own routine, their own preparation for the game. And I think most of the lads, including myself, you wouldn't kind of get really boiled up for the game until you get into the dressing room before the match,
Yeah. Sean, what was your routine like? Pitch and putt, or We often...
No, I tend to relax a bit, but I agree with Jack out there. We were experienced, because we were on the go since '76, and with a lot of experience. It does help. And, I know it's a cliche, but no social media at that time. I mean, while there was hype, it wasn't as bad as it is now.
Yeah.
So we weren't exposed to that.
Is that a bit more avoidable, I suppose? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that made a difference.
Yeah, and because Jack famously, everyone knows you were in league slip at the time, so you were maybe driving up and meeting them at Malahide, as you said, and then you figured, I have my car, so I'll drive into Jones's Road.
Yeah, I just drive in the Sunday morning into the match, and I usually John Egan, Martin Lesson, and Tommy Doyle. We were the four that usually came in my car, and John used to have a friend with him, and his friend just started singing on the way in, giving us a few bars and a few songs on the way to the Croke Park. So it was very, very relaxed.
Wow.
And that was the routine we had, and totally different today. And we actually, when we got to Croke Park, we actually used to go up to the stand up in the upper Hogan stand and maybe watch maybe half the Boyne match or whatever before we go down to Tuggout.
God, amazing stuff. I was looking. I think after 81. So you beat awfully. I wouldn't say overly comfortably, but it's 112 to 8 points. So it's a decent scoreline in the end. I mean, I had to double check the 78 and 79 scorelines against Dublin, where you 5-11 to 9 points.
I think that Offaly team, to be fair, I think Jack just touched on it there. Seamus Darby's goal might have taken a bit from that whole team. I think Jack just mentioned it. They were an exceptional team, and they had lost Leinster semi-final, Leinster final, All-Ireland semi-final, and then a final. We beat them in 81, and they beat us in 82. So they clawed their way all the way to the top.
Yeah, well,
they were on the go for 5 years.
They certainly gave you a stiffer challenge. 78 against Dublin, it's 5-11 to 9 points, and in 79 it's 3-13 to 1-8. So we're talking, a 17-point win in 1978, an 11-point win in 79. Roscommon definitely gave you a good rattle in 1980, and then, Offaly did a decent job in 81 under the circumstances. I was looking,
but I think in fairness there, I think Dublin probably 78, 79, the lads were probably coming towards the end of their careers, probably we had the legs in them more than anything else.
Fair enough.
I would say,
Yeah. Jimmy Deanan was being interviewed in the dressing room in 81. He's the captain that year, and honestly, there's about 100 people in the dressing room behind him. Now, I know journalists were allowed in and were for quite a long time after that, but these were not journalists. I don't know who the hell these people were.
Yeah, there was a few people who always got some way getting into the dressing room. I don't know how they just do it, but obviously, when they were given a few quid and the tunnel started to get in or whatever, they were always getting in certain places,
Yeah, but Sean, it was wedged. There was no room for you to even get changed, I'd say.
Times were different again. I know we're talking probably about old hat, but even coming down on the trains afterwards, these old bars we have on the trains where everybody would mix. You had the same thing when we coming home. Supporters were mixing. You weren't segregated at all from the supporters, and it's just different now. It is different.
I guess the other amazing aspect is Micheál O'Mara-Hurtig is working with the Dublin-based players. So, Jack, I presume that includes you. Micheál was in studio a couple of weeks ago with Ger and Owen on the AM show here, and he was talking about that period training you, but also it seems he was helping you brush up on your Irish one year. I have a clip here I'll play for you, and you can give me your memories of this. But here's Micheál speaking a few weeks ago about getting you up to scratch for your Irish, for your speech, presumably.
And we had great fun, really.
Yeah.
And I would say the greatest fun of all, in 83, Kerry were going for 9 in a row in Munster. And Jack O'Shea was captain that year. So it was a special year. And early in the year I said, Jack, now you'll have 2 speeches to make this year, one in July, Munster final, one in September, All-Ireland final. You'll have to learn a bit of Irish. And I started teaching him little bits as we went on from February on, couldn't you on Ahasarm, and we built it up, and we travelled together and pulled aside somewhere on the way down, and I made a mock presentation. He gave the finest speech I ever. We laughed at it really, but it was fun.
Yeah.
Went in then, and Cork won with a last minute guy. I can remember every move of it. It was a little beyond the 45. Dinny Allen was the kicker. They were a point down, and they were trying to get a draw at least. And Denny Allen was a very careful fella. He was making sure he looked well and fixing himself. And then another player got uneasy. Time is running out. Tadhg Healy. And he passed him by and took the free in towards the goal. Tadhg Murphy caught it, turned around the back of the net. Final whistle. Cork were Munster champions. And the finest speech ever taught or learned was never delivered.
There we are. Jack, if you'd like to deliver the finest speech never heard, the floor is yours.
Well, if you do your research now, I actually did it for the league final in between 83 84. We won the league final down in Limerick, and I was captain that day. So
right, it got its outing, did it?
Yeah, but just go back to me, Hall. Like what an influence he was for me in my career. Like, he trained me for 17 years in Dublin, and I must say he was like a personal trainer to me more than anything else. But I think psychologically he had me convinced after every training session that I was improving, I was getting better. And when I got to just get to the All-Ireland final, he would say to me, "Jack, you're in great shape." That's were his last words. But he was a phenomenal person for me, and he improved my game so much over the 17 years.
Is that right? Yeah, because I mean, he's very modest about it, and he'd give you the impression it was fairly agricultural stuff, and he didn't do much at all.
No. He, like, mentally, like, he had me well prepared. Okay, I think most of our team, in fairness, Joe, we trained very, very hard. And when we got together, we trained very hard. The competition we used to have in training, the matches we used to have in training were unreal. And, like, it was really down to the individual yourself in that time, how fit you wanted to go, how hard you wanted to go on sessions. And we had different fellas from different counties train with us in Dublin. And you could see the difference in the counties that were doing well and that weren't doing well in the attitudes of the players towards training,
Yeah, I saw that was interesting that it wasn't just Kerry players that he might have trained, the different players or open Dublin
we
could
had
train.
Players like Joe Brawley trained with us, Kevin McStay, we had Dermot Flanagan from Mayo, we had several players. We probably had about 6 or 7 Kerry players. Then we had other club players that would be playing championship football in Kerry training with us as well. So we had a great mixture of. Nobody was refused to train with us. Anybody wanted to come came. With Kieran Murray from Monaghan as well. He was a fantastic athlete. I think he's a physio with the Irish soccer team now. He was a fantastic athlete as well.
Oh, that's amazing. Would have been a decent side if you were allowed to pick your best 15 from those sessions.
Yeah, I think we might have done well in the Super 8s now.
And so, Sean, were you sitting back in Kerry suspecting they're doing nothing up in Dublin, or did you? Where were you?
I'd love to be living in Dublin. Jesus. Dealing with Mick O'Dwyer, you'd have a reel in your head.
And Sean, when I used to go to Kerry, I used to go down probably 2 weeks before a big game. I go down for a week with the lads. And the first night I went down, they tell you, he really tested me how good, how fit I was. So we didn't get any special treatment.
Yeah, so you're probably running more laps down in Kerry, Sean. Is that your feeling?
Oh, yeah. Mick O'Dwyer used to have these call them wire to wires, sprinting across the field. They were just savage, you know. And but I think that was a secret. He was bringing us over the edge, and you had a lot of exceptionally fit guys in there. There was about 6 or 7 PE teachers on the panel at the time.
Right.
And, they created their own standard. So there was a big standard of fitness required.
Right, okay, interesting. So I guess, it brings us on to Sunday and Dublin trying to emulate what you lads did back between 78 and 81. It's obviously not an easy thing to do. That said, Jack, you'll do very well to find anyone, even in Tyrone, who reckons that Dublin won't do it.
Yeah, well, you would expect Dublin to do it. They're a phenomenal panel of players. There's so many options available to them, and they have a very, very strong bench. They've set the template for the last number of years. They deserve to be where they are. They deserve to be getting a crack at winning 4 All-Irelands in a row. But in fairness now, the last 3 All-Irelands, they only got through by a point or whatever in a couple of them. So, sorry. They haven't played their best football in finals, and that's the only chance I think that Tyrone might have if they do come up with an exceptional performance and Dublin are a bit off. That we might get a good, at least get a good contest and a good game, but you would have to say it looks like Dublin.
Yeah, Sean.
Yeah, I think watching Dublin all year, I think they're peaking for the final. I think Jim Gavin, he's a warrior. He's at this game for a long time, and it's like a racehorse. I think he's bringing them to their peak, and if not, Tyrone will test them, because Tyrone are every All Ireland that Tyrone played, and they were underdogs. We all know they're mentally very tough. They have very good footballers. This media ban I've just seen there with RTE, it's obviously there are reasons for us with Mickey Hart, and the players are backing him up, and I think it creates a bit of insular thinking then, it might work in their favour, the whole world is against them.
Yeah.
So, Dublin will want to be at their best now. They will, but I just feel that Gavin is bringing them to their peak.
Yeah. There's people listening, there's plenty of messages coming in. Great to hear Sean and Jacko. Dublin can win 10 in a row, but for me there'll never be a better team than Kerry. Simply the best. That's Sean in Wexford. Phil has texted in. He says it's great to hear you giving Offaly credit. They were a great team. They deserved the All-Ireland. And he talks about players like Matt Connor, who were Kerry type players in Offaly jerseys. So they liked hearing what you had to say about Offaly. And then Rory's texted in, maybe one for you, Jack, to give your thoughts on. He says that, as impressive as the 4 in a row are the All-Irelands that you won after that defeat to Offaly, that you regrouped and regathered and went again. I don't know if you have thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, I think we were unlucky again, as Micheál mentioned there, in 83. We got beaten in the Munster final again by a last-minute goal. So then we had to regroup in 84. We got 4 or 5 young fellas came in and made a big difference. They added a bit of steel and probably a bit of pace to our team again. We had a lot of experience, a lot of pace, and we set about again with a very good team, and we were probably getting better. I suppose the older fellas were starting to slip a small bit, but the younger lads really took over the mantle in those couple of years, and we got 3 great wins after that again.
Well, listen, lads, thanks so much. Will you go into it, or will you watch on the TV?
Oh, we'll be in there. I'll be in there now. Yeah.
No,
I think we'll go to a
travelling.
function probably on Saturday for the GPA up in Crow Park. So I think the 78 team are being honoured that day. So we'll have a little get together as well.
Oh, very good. I presume, are you going to make it up, Sean?
Yeah, definitely travelling. Yeah, I'm going to the same function. It's an ex-players, hurlers and footballers. We meet every Saturday before the All-Ireland. It's on about 5 years, and it's been a huge success. There were about 600 there last year. And it was nice to meet good hurlers and footballers down through the years, and it was a great day out.
Yeah, I guess great for you guys to see each other as well, because the cliche goes that teams don't, you lose touch. It happens very easily.
Yourself and Sean might sit together again. We might sit alongside each other, maybe. If he's still talking.
Reunite that midfield. Listen, it was worth touching on the fact that a 4 in a row has certainly been done before, and you were very much a part of it. So thanks very much for joining us, Jack O'Shea and Sean Walsh. Thanks, lads.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.